What do you know about Nostradamus? I guess many have never heard about this French medical doctor turned prophet, while the one who heard about his prophecy most likely would call his prophecy hoax. Unlike Chinese prophecy Tuibei II, which has an undisputed 1,300 years of proven record, the few so-called Nostradamus prophecy were vague and controversial. However, Nostradamus is vague only because no one knew how to read his predictions. I mean, other than us. I mean, really, for real. Although our small team only started working on decoding him for the last 5 years or so, many of our decoded Nostradamus prophecies have been fulfilled already. And through clusters and keyword findings, we have found his prophecy to be anything but vague. I'll give you an example on his coronavirus prediction. You can find our decoding in our Amazon book released March 2020. Nostradamus, Virus Watch List, when we pointed out his prediction on Wuhan, Milan outbreak, areas in Europe and USA to watch out for, the UK variant, and using DNA technology as possible ways to fight the virus. And in our December 2021 book, Omicron, according to Nostradamus, we showed how the DNA prediction was fulfilled. In this prophecy that mentioned 23 pairs, we find in Century 3 Quatrain 56, quote, Montauban and Miss, Avignon and Béziers, plague, thunder, and hail in the wake of Mars. Of Paris Bridge, Lyon's Wall, Montpellier, after 673 pairs. No one found this plague prophecy's DNA message because the English version misquoted the 23 pairs as 3 pairs. However, we checked original French text in 2020 and correctly decoded it. We said since the poem mentioned 7 French cities, this may be about France. While 23 pairs may mean the cure can be found through some DNA technologies, because 23 pairs means our 23 pairs of chromosome, and after 607 may mean after 607 days. 607 days of pandemic passed in August 2021, but the virus has shown no signs of going away. For a brief time in late 2020, we thought we got the upper hand when the vaccine seemed to have stopped the roaring train of death. Actually, I found France approved the Pfizer BNT vaccine on 12/21/2020, which is mRNA based. I decided to search worldometer.info site on France's COVID death toll before that day. And guess what I did find? On 12/20/2020, France reported a total of 60,759 total deaths. Can that be a coincidence? No way. Look, 607 people died the day before France approved the first mRNA-based vaccine in human history. We thought we had the plague under control. It turned out we only scored some points. The virus has outsmarted the vaccine through mutation. And Nostradamus said after 607 pairs. Don't forget that he used 100, as the death toll right was 60700. One question you may have, assuming you check the 26 plague prophecy by Nostradamus and agree that he did try to warn us about COVID-19, the big question on everyone's mind is what will happen next? Unlike Chinese prophecies, which always follow strict timeline, Nostradamus was all over the place. He wrote 942 quatrains, and we don't know which one will happen first. To make our analysis a little easier to understand, we will not talk about the other prophecies. We will just focus on plague prophecies. About half of the prophecy already fulfilled, while the other half is too horrific that I can assume it may happen when the virus becomes uncontrollable. Uncontrollable? Isn't what we have bad enough? If this can't be called out of control, what is? Well, Christmas, even 2020, the world saw new daily infections over 1 million for the first time. That number jumped to 1.3 million on 12/28/20, reached 1.9 million on 12/30/2020. Well, that looks like the start of an uncontrollable spread. Can we stop this seemingly uncontrollable virus? Maybe. Look at the current number and you may agree with my assessment. Although death increased when confirmed cases rose this time, it did not rise at the same speed as the spread. Scientists attribute it to the immunity from prior infections or vaccines. Although some scientists said current vaccine offers no immunity, unless you take in a third shot. But the lower than before death rates seem to indicate that either the virus is no longer as lethal, or the antibodies seem to have some effect. However, we have to admit that countries with high new cases but low death rate, or countries suffering low death rate, are the ones hit hard previously. Many high risk have already died. And with the health system so overwhelmed, who can say how many died quietly at home without getting the COVID label? The pandemic's future is uncertain because we know Omicron, the new variant, is super contagious. The spread is unstoppable. However, if it spreads with mild symptoms and offers immunity to the asymptomatic infected, it is like giving a free vaccine out, right? Yes, only if we don't get a deadly variant out of this fast-spreading variant. Florona is already reported on January the 2nd, 2022 in Israel. And actually, a Florona case was reported in Taiwan the next day. What if the next news break is about Mersona? MERS is the most deadly type of coronavirus. It was found in 2012, peaked in 2015, and still has a few reported cases last year's. Fatality rate is 34% in human-to-human transmission cases centered in the Middle East, UK, Spain, and Italy. I bring this up for 3 reasons. Number 1, it is scientifically proven that more variations can happen over a long period of time of the pandemic, and the more infections, the higher the risk of mutations. Number 2, the remaining unfulfilled Nostradamus plague prophecy described a doomsday scenario that we have not yet seen. If not that the plague turned more deadly, it must be about another plague yet to happen. Number 3, we actually predicted, based on Nostradamus' prophecy in January 2017, that the next great evil would be Ogmios, which is a Greek super powerful figure. With the Greek G sound like Y, doesn't that sound just like Omicron? And we find in Century 5, Quatrain 80, quote,
Ogmios will approach the great Byzantium. The barbaric league will be driven out. Of the 2 laws, the heathen one will give way. Barbarian and Frank in perpetual strife.
Byzantium is in Turkey. Turkey cities not only were mentioned multiple times in Nostradamus' plague prophecies, it is currently ranked number 7, with 9.5 million confirmed COVID case and over 82,000 dead. It is also one of the countries with human-to-human MERS case. It is listed in one of the 4 prophecies mentioning Ogmios, which really made me worry if the next mutation would be from Turkey with a deadly strain. Although our team has our own unique ways to decode prophecy, we have tried to review others' work. Back in 2016, we noticed most Nostradamus scholars believe the next Antichrist would be called Mobus. I searched and found only one quatrain with this name. We find in Century 2, quatrain 62, quote, "Mobus then will soon die. There will come of people and beast a horrible rout. Then suddenly one will see vengeance, 100, hand, thirst, hunger when the comet will run." Other than the mentioning of a beast, I don't see any link with this quatrain to Antichrist. And although Mobus was mentioned, it does not sound like him to be the beast. So we looked carefully through the 942 quatrains and felt the most likely great evil would be Ogmios. We released that in our book Future According to Nostradamus and several videos, like this one called The Next Antichrist According to Nostradamus, released in January 14th, 2017. We showed 4 prophecies mentioning Ogmios. Other than the one we just talked about, this one seems very important. In Century 6, quatrain 52, quote,
"The Ogmios will be left the realm of the great Celian, who will in fact do more. Throughout Italy will he extend his banner. He will be ruled by a prudent formed one."
Assuming Ogmios is Omicron, then the first part talked about it leaving its origin, which is Africa. The second line talked about Selene, which is salt water, normally given to patients to reduce fever, especially when there is no better cure. And it also said, will in fact do more. Then it talked about Italy and said, will extend his banner. Let's check on Italy's COVID chart. Cases have jumped from 12/21/21's 30,000 to 12/25's 54,000 to December 28th's 98,000 to December 30's 127,000 to 12/31's 144,000. Is that a sign of COVID extend its banner? And here comes Nostradamus warning of another mutation in line 4. He will be ruled by a prudent, deformed one. If you look at the COVID chart, you will find Turkey and Italy are not the worst hit areas in the Omicron wave. True, as USA was hit worse than any country, but Nostradamus had a separate prophecy for the USA. In the Ogmios prophecy, it did mention 2 other countries. Let's look at Century 8, quatrain 44, quote, "The natural offspring of Ogmios will turn off the road from 7 to 9. To the king long friend of the half-man, Navate must destroy the fort at Pau." This prophecy talked about procreation, which was translated as offspring. I mean, isn't this clear that it is talking of the spread and possibly mutation of Omicron? Line 2 talked about turn off roads from 7 to 9. Omicron has cut off travel and traffic of many countries, right? Will we be the worst? I will now jump to the word Navate. Do you know where it's at? Navarre was a kingdom now a part of South France and Spain. Now, let's look at the chart of Spain and France. France reported 48,000 daily infected on 12/19/2021. Then on 12/25 reported 104,000. Then 3 days in a row reported over 200,000 daily cases since 12/29/2021. Spain wasn't much better. It reported 49,000 cases on 12/21/21, 72,000 on 12/23, then 100,000 on 12/29, before skyrocketing to 161,000 on 12/30/2021. So the four worst hit countries other than the USA were predicted in these four Ogmios quatrains. Do you still have doubts Ogmios is Omicron? Do you still think we were on drugs when we said Ogmios is the next great evil? Now, let's take a look in Century 9, Quatrain 89, quote, "For 7 years fortune will favor Philip. He will beat down again the exertions of the Arabs. Then at his noon perplexing contrary affair, young Ogmios will destroy his stronghold." This is the last Ogmios quatrain by Nostradamus. Look at the previous quatrain about King and Navarre. Now we know Navarre is modern-day Spain. Did you know King of Spain is now Felipe V? Do you know he was crowned in 2014, which makes 2021 the 7th year? And the prophecy started by saying, for 7 years, fortune will favor Philippe. Well, this is telling us Spain will suffer greatly in this new wave. And look at the mention of Arabs. And think of my concern over variant spread like Omicron, but severe like MERS. And MERS is called Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. And please note that MERS antibodies were found in Spain between November 17 to December 15, 2021. Now, look at this last line, young Ogmios. I guess it is not the current Omicron that would destroy Spain, but a young one. Could this be a variant on top of a variant? I don't want to talk too much on the decoding of the Ogmios quatrains. I did already in the book Omicron According to Nostradamus. Please feel free to check that out on Amazon. I want to explain what I meant, that we may be able to survive Omicron. If we can survive this spike before a deadly variant is out, then we'll be fine. If not, we are doomed. How do we survive? Well, it sounds really cruel. I think there will be a Omicron variant, and it will be deadly. However, some dead variant kills its host quickly, and thus kills itself. If we control the spread of the more deadly variant, we will survive. I hope by sharing what I know, I can have more of you prepared to fight this battle. The battle for our survival. This is Ken Peters. Thank you for watching.